Hey Gary, can you hear me? Gary, are you able to hear me?
Other Tuesday night. So, at this time, Patty, would you please call the roll?
Don,
Here.
Wanda. Here. Ryan,
Here.
John,
Here.
Dan,
Here.
Dan called in, so yes, he's here. At this time, I'd like a motion to approve our agenda.
I have a couple of changes on item number 20. We have no poor relief for this evening. However, the state's attorney would like to add in contracts. And with those additions, I would move to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
Nobody tells me. And I'll amend my motion to include the deletion of number 10.
Okay, I have a motion by Wanda,
Second.
second by Ryan to approve our agenda as amended. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any conflicts of interest by any of the commissioners?
I have none.
I have none.
I have none.
I have none.
Commissioner Clemish?
Dan?
Are you still there?
I don't have a conflict either.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Okay, public comment. Now is the time for public comment. Public comment is a time for persons to address this body on any subject. No action may be taken on a matter raised under this item of the agenda until the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an item upon which action will be taken. Each person has up to 3 minutes to speak. There shall be no personal attacks against the members of this body, county staff, individuals, or organizations. The chair has the authority to enforce this policy. Failure to adhere to these rules may result in forfeiture of the remaining speaking time. So at this time, we have Madison
Melcher.
Melcher.
Okay, got it working. I just saw you had a full agenda, so I'm going to make this short and sweet in public comment. I would like to formally invite all the commissioners and anyone else who's listening or in this room to the Yankton County Fair next week. We have a lot of things going on. So on Friday, the 31st, we have livestock shows all day, some activities for the kids in the afternoon. And then we have a 4-H supper at 5 o'clock. And then we also have bingo starting at 7:30. And then Saturday morning, we have our pancake feed. So that is open to the public. We want to see you guys. We want you guys to come see what Yankton County youth are doing through 4-H. So we hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Madison. Next, we have Christy Schultz.
Hi, I'm just here to address some comments made by a gentleman at the last committee meeting where we addressed data centers. And it has nothing to do with data centers. He just spoke at the end of the meeting. Am I too close? Or?
No, not close enough.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm sorry. I'm Christy Schultz, and he made the comment, and I'm not saying anybody's name. Those of you that are here heard what he had to say. He said that he lived here 15 years ago and left, worked somewhere else, and then came back 4 years ago and made the comment there was zero change in Yankton, the city of Yankton, and implied that if we did not move forward and let big corporations come in, that Yankton was going to die. I take objection to that comment. My family has been here for 9 generations. Yankton as a city became a city in 1873. That is 153 years ago. And Yankton is going strong. The thing I love about Yankton, we have excellent schools. The schools have improved. The parks have improved. We've made major improvements in Riverside Park. We now have a handicapped access park for the children there. We have had a water park has come to Yankton since then. There have been many improvements in the parks and the schools and Yankton as a whole. We've had tons of building in the last 15 years, single family homes and apartment buildings. There have been a lot of industry and big businesses that have come to town. The thing that I really enjoy about Yankton is we have had sustainable growth. You don't have to let every big corporation come in on the guise that this is the growth that we need. And I'm going to leave it right there. I'm proud of our town and I disagree. Oh yes, he also said that the population hadn't changed, which was untrue. The population in Yankton 15 years ago was 12,000. Now we are well over 15,000 and over 20,000 plus in the county. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Chris, you're up.
Okay, I'm Chris Patton, Yankton County GOP committeeman, Republican committeeman. And I've been watching events since about 1964. And we face challenges in this community and in this nation. And those challenges to me are the responsibility of both the Republican and the Democratic Party, the leaders there. And the only way we're going to reach any kind of solution is by working together and not working separately. And one of those is like the federal deficit. That's $38 trillion now. And there's a reason why that's so big. And it just occurred to me, I mean, I do a lot of economic reading, and the size of the economy, the total GDP and everything, if you look at it, government takes up 37 to 38% of this economy. Now, just round that up to 40, so it's a little easier to think about, but that means that 60% of the economy has to pay for 40% because the government doesn't make any money. That's only 1.5 times the size. If the government was 25% and the economy was 75%, it'd be 3 to 1. And it'd be a lot easier and we'd be able to get a lot more done with a lot less taxation on the people. And it's basically, we have to take one step back to go 2 steps forward. So this is a principle that in dealing with economic development and a lot of other things, we have to try to find ways to try to roll back the size of government so that we can leave more money in the taxpayers' hands. And I believe that's one of the best ways, not the only, but one of the best ways to invest in economic development of our community. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Peyton Tursa? Did I say the last name right? All right.
I put together a little spiel on the data center proposals here. My name is Peyton Tursa. I've been a Yankton resident for over 17 years. I just want to say I'm not a cynic when it comes to technology, and I don't think many of us are anymore today, with Facebook and Instagram being most of everyone's beloved pastimes. Like most people my age, I have been using the internet since I was a child, and I thought one day I would like to become a graphic designer because I loved art and I thought the tech side would be more fun and have more job openings. I'm pretty glad now that I decided a different route in life, because now those jobs have all but a few been turned over to AI. These data centers not only take the jobs of thousands of artists, but other types of jobs as well. I want to stress that I don't stand here as an enemy of progress, but the thing is that when I looked at the proposal of data centers, I don't see progress. I see a gamble where big tech companies and the people who allow them to move in make all the money, and the rest of the community pays the bills and suffers the environmental issues. I know there are people out there who will make the argument that they are safe for the communities and run on closed loop systems. They claim the water is filled once and recycled forever. This may sound good on paper, and it's what the pro data center advocates will proclaim, but it's far from the truth. As data centers expand, the heat from these machines generated is outstripping the closed loop theory. To keep the servers from melting, the data center has to expel the lines to avoid toxic sludge from building up over time. And the expelled water needs to be evaporated. It doesn't stay in the loop. It evaporates into the sky. But where does the toxic sludge go? It's very convenient that we have a large river system nearby to steal water from and then dump the leftover sludge into. That's our drinking water, our fishing, our beach days, our farming, and our way of life here. If a large-scale data center is approved here, it will impact everyone in the area and the surrounding. According to Consumer Reports, a large-scale data center can consume up to 5 million gallons a day. That's 16,000 households. For reference, Yankton County only has approximately 9,695 households, according to the U.S. Census. This is going to impact your water bill tremendously. There are many states going through water shortages and have had to conserve water usage because of droughts and large-scale water loss from these centers. It's not just your water bill you're going to see an increase, though. According to Consumer Reports, residential electric prices skyrocketed over 7.1% in 2025, according to the federal data. That's because hyperscale data centers demand nearly unimaginable amounts of energy. The International Energy Agency says a typical hyperscale data center might use 100 megawatts a month, as much electricity as 75,000 American households, and that's just at the low end. More data centers means higher electric bills, higher water bills, and even if the water is available, and then there's the toxic sludge leftover waste that is unusable or recyclable. We always hear to keep Yankton beautiful, so let's actually mean it and keep a large-scale data center far away from here. Thanks for your time.
Okay, one thing that I'm going to ask our audience, that people speaking about data centers or any other issues this evening, please hold your applause until after the meeting is over. And you can visit with the speakers at your leisure after the meeting is over. Every time that you applause takes time away from another speaker. And at this time, I would like to also make mention that when it comes time to item number 9 on the agenda, we're going to allow 30 minutes for speakers on the moratorium. We're going to allow 30 minutes for speakers against the moratorium if need be. 3 minutes per person, and because of time and as you can see, we have a large agenda for this evening. So we're going to move on now we have no other public comment, so public comment is closed. So we're going to move on to item number 5 with our highway department. Mike, approve speed limit resolutions. and local federal bridge grant applications.
So first I have two resolutions for speed limit change reduction out on 310 Street between 429 Avenue and 430 Avenue. It's currently 55 mile an hour speed limit. Going down to 40 mile an hour. That stretch of 310 is out by Deepwoods, kind of out by the Boy Scouts. There's housing development out there.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is Commissioner Klimish. I went out and met with the residents of that area. This was a request from those citizens to make it more safe in their neighborhood, and to B, just try to keep the roads in better shape with reduced speeds. And I reached out to Highway Superintendent Mike Sedlacek, and he agreed. So we're just bringing this forward, but this is coming forward from feedback from the citizens in that area. Thank you.
Do we need a motion on that or?
Mhm.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I'd move approval.
had a motion by Dan,
Second.
second by Wanda to approve the speed limit resolution on Road 310. Now there's a difference between 310 west and 310 east. Is that correct?
Well, this is just the 1 mile of 310 between 429 Avenue and 430.
Okay, and that's
430 is the Boy Scouts. Then to the west would be a mile would be 429.
And that's specified in the resolution. Okay. Got a motion by Dan, second by Wanda. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Then the second speed limit reduction would be for Dayton Lane and Ridgeview Drive in Deepwoods. They're both dead end roads. There's approximately 25 houses out there that these two roads would be servicing. Narrow gravel roads. So
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Got a motion by Dan, second by Ryan to approve that resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries.
and then I have two separate bridge applications. First one, which one you have on your packet first? I guess it don't matter. Bridge number 68-186-070. It is currently a bridge on the north end of Marindale Lake. It's load rated. It's due for replacement here in the next few years. This is just a footprint to get its PE grant for type, size, location, hydraulics. We'd be on the hook for this grant for $16,974.
Mike, what was the number on that?
68-186-070.
Any discussion by the commission? Get a motion to approve that?
I'd move to
approval.
second.
Have a motion by Dan, second by Wanda to approve the grant application for the bridge 68168-07. All in favor, aye?
186.
Aye.
I'm sorry,
186.
18607. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And the next application is for Fleegs Bridge for the design engineering. That way it would be bid ready for in the future for replacement. That one there, it's an 18.05% match on that. The design, talking with the engineers, is good for approximately 10 years. So it's gonna take a couple of years for them to complete this. The county would be on the hook for $62,512.
Mike, this is Dan. I don't have any problem, and I think we should approve the grant. But I think it's important that our citizens realize, the $5 wheel tax that we have is a significant ranking and having this bridge approved with the bridge improvement grant. And then if we do this work, that'll elevate our bridge improvement grant score as well, correct?
Correct.
And so it's real vital. We won't be able to get bridge improvement grant from the state or any federal grants unless we do that. That's pretty accurate, correct?
Correct. The
Okay.
design would have to be done regardless before we could apply for replacement.
Okay, and do we have any idea, or will this be, that this will give us a better idea for the actual cost of what that bridge will cost when the time does come to repair?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
and we're kind of thinking in the $14 million range right now, but it could go higher than that.
Right, that'd be the total replacement cost. Anywhere from that 12 to 15 is what we're thinking.
And then the last thing I guess I'd like to say about this bridge, and you can verify it as well. There was some pretty significant structural issues a number of years ago where these beams were cracking through, and we arrested the beams by drilling above and below the crack. Am I correct on that? And so
Yeah.
this bridge is living on borrowed time. I think it's important that the community realize that as we're moving forward with, in my mind, this is one of the reasons we did a road and bridge opt out, because I don't see any possible way of paying for this bridge when it does fail unless we have some money and these studies done. So thank you.
Thanks, Dan. So was that a motion to approve the?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the request. I think we have to do it. It'll improve our bridge improvement grant score and maybe give us another opportunity for a federal grant. I think it will more than pay for itself when the time comes to replace this bridge. Thank you.
I got a motion by Dan. Gonna get a second?
Second.
Got a second by Wanda to approve the local federal bridge grant application for the Fleegs Bridge. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Hi,
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Mike, do you have any of those photos of those cracks we drilled out? I guess I'd like maybe a couple of those emailed, and we should maybe post them so the citizens realize the seriousness of this bridge, and how it isn't 100% now and needs to be replaced.
Yep,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Next item on the agenda, our 2026 second quarter report by a Register of Deeds, Brian Hunoff.
Hello, Commissioners. You may recall me stating in April that we had a very good first quarter. Happy to say we also had a very good second quarter, really an excellent second quarter. We were just shy of 100,000 in fees collected, so that's very healthy for us. April was our best ever at $33,689 collected. We also were over 30,000 in May and in June. I'm always happy when we can collect over 30,000. I think it's a healthy number, and we've now done that 5 months in a row, including July. We already hit it in July with 8 weekdays left to go. As far as the quarter as a whole, we had 1,416 cash transactions, which is an increase of 78 from the second quarter of last year. We saw 259 birth certificates, 302 death certificates, 47 marriage licenses, 77 marriage certificates. We saw 246 deeds, which is an increase of 36 from a year ago, 204 mortgages, which is an increase of 21. Mortgages paid off, satisfactions, we had 196, which is an increase of 41, all good numbers. And in terms of county liens, we actually saw a reduction. We had 358 county liens in the second quarter, which is 64 fewer than the second quarter of 2025. You know, you have to take that with a grain of salt. You want to see that happen 2 or 3 quarters in a row before you get too happy about it, but
They paid off or written off.
we only had, I have it here. I believe it was only a little over 8,344 in liens collected. So kind of a paltry number when you look at our total liens for the quarter. We're 110,089, so it's less than 10%, but
So we're not getting very much of it.
no, never do. Once in a while, we'll get a windfall, somebody will pay off a big one, but not this year. Copies revenue, 8,303, transfer fees, 53,865. And that represents 53.9 million in real estate sold, which is very good. We set records in real estate sold and transfer fees last year, and we're definitely on pace to top those numbers this year. So we're only 7 months in, but very possible. I have spent 48.84% of my budget through 50% of the year. It doesn't sound like much, but it's an accomplishment considering how tight the budgets are this year. I did add to my packet full-time staff comparison that I delivered to the finance task force this afternoon. And this sheet reflects full-time budgeted benefit eligible positions, not part-time staff. And so they wanted to know pre-COVID and post-COVID, how we've done in terms of our full-time staff. And pre-COVID, we had 99 full-time staff. That was January 1st, 2019. And at this time, July 2026, we have 95. So that's a net reduction of 4. A couple of those are eliminated positions and a couple of them are on-field positions, but we're 4 fewer. I do think there was kind of a conception that we've increased our staff since COVID. We haven't. We've actually gone down a little bit. Task force wasn't entirely satisfied with this report because I did not calculate the full-time equivalent of our part-timers, and that's something they want. But I will say these 95 positions represent the vast majority of our personnel expenses. We do have 3 departments, sheriff, jail, and ambulance, who do use part-timers, to a fair extent. So I guess if the task force wants those full-time equivalents of those part-time jobs, they'll have to reach out to those 3 department heads. And that is it.
Okay. Any other questions for Brian from the commission?
Brian, when the budget was final last year, you took the 10%.
But yes,
In operating and you're under it yet.
yeah, I cut my budget quite a bit before you took that last 10% off. So
Yeah.
It's been a monthly challenge, but just kind of make a game out of it and figure out a way to come under.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. Thanks,
Brian, this is Dan here.
Hi, Dan.
Your work as always, and I think it's important too. The commission really eliminated 3 entire departments, and then after the state made significant changes without inputs to the county, we moved away from our agreement with the nurse's office, freeing up 2 employees. So we are no longer doing that, soil conservation and then extension as well. So you've been around a long time. I don't know how often 3 whole departments get consolidated. That's pretty rare. And so just appreciate you putting those numbers together. Thank you.
That's a really good point, Dan. I'll just go over a few of the departments where we saw some fluctuation real quickly. Let's take about a minute. So auditor, treasurer, register of deeds, we saw no change pre-COVID to post-COVID. Director of equalization, we have 1 less staff than we did because that's a budget position that has not been filled at this time. Emergency management is the same as it was, 2 staff, custodial, 4 staff. Zoning, actually in 2019, we had 3 budgeted positions. One of those was going to be a full-time enforcement officer. We never filled that, so they were at 2 then and they're at 2 now in terms of actual people. Sheriff has held at 14 pre and post-COVID. The jail is at 20 pre and post-COVID. Highway department has actually gone down 2. And that was possible because Mike, as I recall, did not replace himself when he became superintendent. He didn't hire another assistant superintendent. And also, I think there was another position he didn't fill. So he has a net loss of 2. EMS is where we saw some change. We had 8 full-timers January 1st, 2019, and we had 13 full-timers at the start of 2026. However, they have one of those full-timers has retired and won't be replaced. So right now it's a change of 8 to 12 pre-COVID, post-COVID. That was the biggest difference. State's attorney was at 6. They're at 6 now. I believe they have one on-field position. And veterans 1. And as Dan mentioned, 3 entire departments are no longer on the county payroll. For many years, we funded 2 full-time positions in the nurse's office, and we no longer do that. Those positions now are paid by the state. For many years, we had 2 full-time positions in the extension office, and no longer do we do that. We do have a 4-H specialist, but we just pay a stipend to the state extent. That's a state employee who we help pay the salary for. So much less than the cost of a full-time employee. And the same with the soil conservation. You can go back 50, 60 years, we always had a full-time soil conservation person. And again, this was a smart move, I think, by the commission to evaluate that position and look at the fact that it's very seasonal, heavy hours, and certain times of the year. So if you gave a stipend to the Soil Conservation Board, they can hire somebody to fill the hours that are busy. And so, yeah, as Dan said, that's 3 entire departments phased out of the payroll. Thank you.
Thank you for coming up with these statistics. Appreciate it, Brian.
Yeah.
Like a motion to approve our second quarter report by the Register of Deeds.
I'd move to approve the Register of Deeds second quarter report.
Second.
Got a motion by Don.
No.
I think he edged you just by a hair.
Sure.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Ambulance, Troy. Our 2026 second quarter report.
Good evening, everyone. Your second quarter report for the ambulance was in your packet. Just go over a few of the numbers here with you real quick. You can see that the total number of calls for the quarter was 630, up just a little bit from 606 in the first quarter. Again, looking down to the calls by the response area, 83% of those calls in the city limits of Yankton, another almost 4% out in the lake area. Down at the bottom down there, you can see that actually the number of transfers had dropped by almost 20, but again, the overall number of calls was up. We had sent 456 calls to our clearinghouse, or 456 claims were sent to waste, our clearinghouse, for payment. And the good news is in the expenses and revenue, our expenses were pretty similar to the first quarter, down just a little bit. It was $388,000 in the first quarter compared to $380,000 in the second quarter. But the revenue is what took a big jump. We saw the revenue increase by $73,000 in the second quarter compared to the first. That was at $333,000 for a difference of just $46,000 deficit for us for the second quarter. That was down quite a bit from the first quarter. And that put us at a cost per resident for the second quarter of just $1.96. That's a good number. Part of the reason for that increase in the revenue is some of the changes that we've been making, including some of the billing coding, interpreting what emergency calls versus non-emergent calls mean. And in the way that we're able to bill those, we can bill more for an emergent call as compared to a non-emergent call. Another thing that we started doing specifically in this quarter was sending out lien notices to private pay patients who have not been paying on their bills. And not surprisingly, when they get the lien notice, all of a sudden we start getting payments in. So that has helped increase the revenue as well. And also, I think some of that is attributed to the rate increase that we did back in November, on November 1st. We're just kind of seeing the waterfall effect of that as we see some of those invoices come back into us with an increase in the rates. That's the gist of it. Anybody have any questions on it?
I think it looks really good. I like those second quarter numbers.
Yeah, it's looking a lot better. We're trending upward. The number of calls that we have, if we continue and if we were just to double what we have right now, we'd be over 2,400 calls for the year. That's That'll be the first time that we pass 2,400. So the calls continue to increase. The revenue is matching that.
Good.
Thanks.
Like to commend you and Jeff for moving this thing in the direction where you're moving it now. And hopefully, and I think that we're moving in the right direction, and I think we're going to get there to where it's feasible to maintain a county funded ambulance service.
Thank you.
Any other questions for?
Just one. Where the majority of these calls originated from? County, city?
Most of them are originating in the city of Yankton, as they usually do. We do this month or this quarter, 83% of the calls that we responded to were actually in the city limits of Yankton. Probably the second busiest area is going to be out in the lake area where we're seeing the population. This time of the year, we see an increase to the lake for some calls out there. You'll also see that there's other rural calls that account for other almost 5%. That other rural is areas where there's no first responders just outside of the city limits of Yankton. So there's some population there, but it doesn't really fit in the first responders in Gave, Wallen, Irene, or Lesterville. So we just kind of attribute that to an other rural. So it's really mostly right in the city of Yankton and within the first couple of miles out of the city limits is where most of our calls are taking place.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'd like a motion to approve our second quarter report from our ambulance.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion by Don, second by Wanda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Troy. Next item, South Dakota LTAP, Greg Vavra, you're going to give us a report. Or
I don't know if
an
it's a-
explanation.
I don't know if it's a report.
An explanation.
Anyway, welcome everyone. Greg Bobber. I manage the transportation center at Brookings at the university. And what we provide there is we provide all the technical advice and training for the counties free of charge, elected official training, whatever we need to do in the road and bridge side. Part of what they asked me to come down tonight was to talk a little bit about the road and bridge levy. And that kind of was speared from, I did a webinar a week ago and Dan was on that webinar, and 5 minutes after I got off the webinar, my phone rang and said, would you come down and talk about that in Yankton? So some things about the road and bridge levy. I've seen some stuff out there already, and I've just now started to get involved in it, but we've done these for 5 counties in the last year and a half. And one thing that I think is good for everyone is I'll work directly with the commission and Mike. I work with Mike on other projects, but we need to lay out a plan for what we're going to do with the money. We're going to need to lay out a plan that's transparent to the people that are going to vote on this. And then we need to deliver on that plan. Sully County was one of the last ones I worked with. They went 3 times for road and bridge levy, and it was referred all 3 times and failed. And it failed because there was no transparency between the county and the citizens. No one knew what they were raising the money for. No one knew what they were spending the money for. And so we helped Sully County. We held public meetings like we would do here if we get involved, and educated the public on where the money's going to go, what we're going to use it for, and what projects are going to cost. And then it passed 70-30 because it was all about public education. If you don't know what you're going to spend your money on, I'm the same way. I'm not going to be willing to spend it. I'm the mayor of a small community. I know what budgets are like. And so we just let a road project the other day come in $82,000 over budget. And in a small city, that's a big number. But the one thing we have to remember is the projects that we can afford to do today cost us that much more tomorrow. And I think I've known some of these guys a long time. I've known Mike a long time. I think when it gets down to time to come back and do a public meeting, we'll have good information. We'll know where the funds are going. We'll know what they're being raised for. You know, bridge projects right now are one of the things that are very competitive. And many times, county with a small budget doesn't have that extra $20,000 or $40,000 to invest in a bridge. And then when you don't invest that money in the bridge, then you don't score as many points as, say, Minnehaha or someone that comes in and puts 30% towards that bridge project and they score more points, and then you get left out without a grant. And grants are pretty important right now, especially federal program is an 1805 match, state match is a 20%. So, you know, you talk about a $14 million bridge, somewhere we need to raise that 20% or we'll never build it. I see counties right now, I was just in Corson County last month where they're in the process of doing a levy to supply some bridge funds because their bridge come in enough over budget, they couldn't afford the match. So they had to let that grant go back. And so now here's a bridge that's going to probably be closed until they can find the match money to keep it open. So, but I'd entertain any questions you might have about the road and bridge levy at this time.
Yeah, Greg, this is Dan Clemish, Commissioner Clemish. Thank you for coming down. Could you just briefly talk about what you've seen with price increases and throughout the counties in the state, you know, really after COVID, a lot of counties like ours spent our ARPA dollars on the road and bridges funds, but the cost increase that you're seeing are far surpassing the 3% that the county taxes go up. So could you just mention kind of what that does to a budget and what you're seeing in other counties in the state? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. So a little bit on increases. I started in this business in 1994 and as a superintendent, bought my first motor grader for $93,000 and I thought we were going to break the bank. Today it's $440,000. And it hasn't been a general increase. What's happened is we were kind of on that 3% for a long time until COVID come. And I'll be the first to tell you, been around the block a few times, I'm kind of old. Anytime free money comes, it comes with an expense. We put a bunch of bridge money out there in 2020 for COVID. We had ran just about every bridge builder in South Dakota out of business because we didn't have any bridge money. Now we have all these people coming to the state, just hoping to get one or two bridges. And we've seen a 40-foot bridge used to cost us about $6,000 a linear foot. So $240,000 for a 40-foot county bridge. Now we're at $800,000. And we didn't get there 3% at a time. We got there at 3%, COVID coming, we got there at 15, 20, and 25, just like that. Until now, we don't have enough money to build enough bridges to keep everyone busy. I'm starting to see bridges get competitive again. We're seeing some bridges come in under engineer estimate, but they're still 40% higher than they should be. Our culverts almost doubled after COVID, but now stabilized. But there's still that big jump in everything. Machinery has went up 50% in the last probably 7 years. And everybody's like, well, then don't buy new. And that's all good. But we all drive vehicles and we know what happens to today's vehicles if we don't have warranty. You can't afford to fix them. So there's a lot of things to uncover here for Yankton County. A lot of help we can provide the commission. I work with Mike regularly, so we'll put something together for the commission. It'll be just public knowledge things that we'll put together and probably a PowerPoint for those that love those, but it'll show needs for Yankton County. I don't care what the other counties around us need at this time. It's about what does the Yankton County need to do better. And I guess with that, that's all I really have for tonight until we start the process of looking at the budget, seeing where our shortfalls are. What are our goals? You know, they're talking about a 2-year levy. That's not going to be too hard to fix in 2 years. We can find 2 years worth of projects pretty easy. Yes. Well, it's in the evening, so yes, twice as much as it is during the day. And during the day, it's free. So tonight, we're gonna go for twice as free. No, I do not charge for this service. We are funded through Federal Highway Administration and through the local road and bridge fund. So a little bit of every county's tax money goes into a pool to support our program. And then we provide whatever we can to the county, cities, townships, road districts, anything that's a taxing entity. And that's all free of charge. Whether we do design for you, whether we come down and do inspections for you or work on your budgets with you, we're going to be a free service. Is that cheap enough?
Okay, Greg, thanks for showing up this
Yep.
evening and
Thank you.
explaining this to us, and we appreciate your time,
Yeah, thank you.
even though it's costing us nothing.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next item on the agenda, temporary zoning ordinance hearing.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Don.
I'd like to make a motion that we table the moratorium on data centers and have the planning and zoning team develop the ordinance and cover the data centers as it's set out in, I believe, South Dakota codified law.
I have a motion by Don. Can I get a second to table the moratorium issue until our planning and zoning board members can provide us with an ordinance? I have no seconds. That motion will fail.
Do we have a timeline? This is Dan. Do we have a timeline on that, Don?
I discussed the project with the planning zoning team at our last meeting. I believe it was last week. And not every person was there. I think there was one missing, but the rest of them all were highly committed to take on the task. And I said, well, that to do this, we may have to have sometimes 2 meetings a week to get it done on a timely basis, because we want it done in a very timely manner. And we can put a time limit on it. We can.
I don't think it's wise to put a time limit on it, because I don't want to do this fast. I want to do this right.
See again?
I don't want to do this fast. I want to do this right and get it correct. And if we rush through things too quickly, we may end up with an ordinance that restricts things too much, restricts things in the wrong way. I'd rather do things right.
Can't we have some kind of a time frame though?
Well,
So,
this is-
I mean,
the
a year
moratorium-
seems kind of a long
The
time.
moratorium gives that time frame. It sets a deadline.
A year, plus another year.
Plus another, how do you figure another year?
Well, I thought the one that you suggested that if it wasn't done in a year, that we would have another year.
No, this says explicitly a 12-month moratorium.
What about 6 months? Can you live with 6 months?
No, I think 12 months is plenty. Based on the past efforts we've done, it's been 6 months is probably it'll probably happen within 6 months. If we do have dedicated and lots of meetings, it can be done faster. This moratorium doesn't stop anything from the planning commission to do anything. In fact, it's an encouragement for them to get their work done fast. As soon as they get this done, this moratorium's lifted.
Who's to get the moratorium?
So the moratorium ensures that we can do this with calm, collected heads. We don't have the rhetoric and the pressures and this urgency that exists in our zoning law today.
Well, we do have a budget meeting coming up, and it's quite likely we'll be extremely short. It's quite likely that we'll have to let a number of people go if we don't develop a source of income. And if we wait another year, it'll be another year. It's gonna take 2 or 3 years to get it developed at best. And we gotta do something to bring revenue into the county.
A data center isn't gonna change anything next week.
That's not what I read.
Mr. Chair, this is Dan.
Yes, Dan.
Do I understand that we have a lot of people wanting to speak on this topic? Maybe public comment before we have our discussion? And let's hear what the citizens have to say before we decide what we want to do.
Absolutely, we're gonna have, it's a hearing, so yes, we're gonna have public comment, but as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, we're gonna have public comment on this issue for 30 minutes, 3 minutes per individual. I don't want anybody sharing their time or whatever, however you want to do it. But each person gets 33 minutes to speak. And then if there's anyone in favor of not doing the moratorium, we're going to give them 3 minutes also, or 30-minute time frame. So at this point in time, let's go ahead and open public comment for in favor of the moratorium on the data center. And again, you have 3 minutes to speak. Chris, you're raising your hand first.
Do you want
Yeah.
them in line?
And if in way of timing, if you want to speak, would you please move up to the podium and stay and get in line so that you're ready to go the minute Chris is done. And I know that Chris is gonna be very cautious of his time frame.
Yes, I
And
will.
Wanda is going to keep time.
Okay. One of the main
You
things why
have to
we
say
need,
your name.
oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Chris
Again.
Patton, yeah. I live in Yankton, the city of, and the county of. Okay, so I think we need the moratorium. And one of the reasons is because it's very hard to get information and good information on the impact of data centers, period. And one of the things that I ran across that is new, and because I think other people might be bringing up other information later, I'll focus on that, is that, you know, we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 4,000 data centers already in operation in this country. There's another 3,000 that are well on the way to being done, and I've heard perhaps as many as another 5,000 to 7,000 above that. And one of the things that I haven't heard people talk about, because I have heard about the other things, and something that isn't as common is that there is sound energy that comes out that can affect livestock as well as people that we don't necessarily hear. But we don't have enough electricity for the data centers that are already planned. Right now, as of 2025, the United States actually produces 24 gigawatts of power. And it's projected to have grown that to 110 gigawatts by 2030. Now, the thing is that we have 600 gigawatts of power in data centers already planned to be built before 2030. So we are short, and of those 600 gigawatts, only 183 gigawatts have been pledged. And as we know, that's counting on like 160 that have to be built that isn't built today. And building electrical infrastructure is long. It takes twice as long to build a power line as it does to build a gas pipeline. And so one of the things we have and this is in general, and I've seen it since I was a kid, just in real estate development and everything else, you know, everything sort of piles in and then it goes bankrupt and the next guy that comes along makes the money on it type of thing. We have a lot going on right now. There's a lot of smoke out there. It's hard to get the information. So we need that year in order to even get what the facts are.
Michael Strom here. So back in 2017, I worked for Lynx, telecom technician was my position. I lived in Colorado, the Denver area, and I got hired out to do Comcast out in Chicago. And they were having an overheating problem with their fans.
pushing way too much heat, overheating everything. And their best idea forward was get some plastic fins to redirect the heat so it wouldn't overheat. So that was, let's say, a decade ago, and they still haven't figured out the heating problems that data centers will be giving us in the future. But what does make Yankton, let's say, prime real estate for data centers would be our new water processing treatment plant. So I'd say we're looking like pretty low hanging fruit on that, because it'd probably be a really good idea for those with money to put it here because we already got the infrastructure for it. So that kind of makes us as a community feel pretty vulnerable. The impact on the environment is frightening, especially since we haven't been doing the right things with the river. You know, the zebra mussels, the carp, you know, the netting laws that could be changed. I swear about a month ago, I may have seen a carp on the west side of the dam, and we all know what that means. It's just going to keep going upriver, and no one's done anything to stop that. My recommendation would be maybe not make one big data center, maybe use all the office space in Sioux Falls, Yankton that no one's using, or even the skyscrapers in Chicago, Denver, Atlanta with just whole floors that are empty that could be utilized. You know, use the space we already have. And then if we do get a data center, don't want to pay subscriptions for a service. You know, I want full benefits as a member who's got it in their backyard. Like, give me the robot from the Jetsons or something. Thank you.
Okay, Swihart. I was doing some more research today, and according to FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, the U.S. data center electric use is expected to double by 2030. And the CO2 increase just within last year, 2025, increased 4% nationally. Data center demand will outpace the capacity by over 100 gigawatts through 2030. That is enough power to serve 72 to 100 million homes. The growth is exploding everywhere. The use is not there. The need is not there. 9.2 billion in rate hikes were passed on to customers last year alone, and this is due to very incompetent or not complete rules yet that is being used by the United States. New interconnection rules could provide greater cost clarity, but until those are done, we should not go forward in this. If I looked up Morningstar, the new interconnection rules are being worked on, but it's going to take some time to get these done, and we don't want to move forward until those interconnection rules are done. So there's a lot of concern here. There's many more things, the climate change, et cetera, that needs to be taken in because these do impact it. This is something that we need to seriously look at. Go slow on this. There's not a rush for us to do that. This money, anything that's transferred on to customers, is out of their pocket. It's not going to be helping the county. It's going to be hurting the county because this will cost people, residents, money. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Travis Schultz. I'm a resident of Yankton, born and raised. I actually have a degree in computer science. I've been involved in the software development industry for many years. And from my perspective, this AI is a boondoggle. It is Silicon Valley trying to get one more good idea out of the pipe and trying to get investors on the line. It's a massive bubble, and when it bursts, everybody that has helped to install the infrastructure is going to be left holding the bag. Now, at the previous meeting at which I attended, the folks that were in favor of data centers gave us a lot of promises about how many jobs and all of the economic development that it would bring. The fact of the matter is, several communities across this country have already had experience with these data centers coming into their community, and their experience has been almost universally negative. In Georgia, there's been air pollution caused from the extra gas turbines that these giant data centers have needed to erect in order to maintain the power because the local grid wasn't up to spec. Not only is there air pollution from these turbines, but there's also, as was mentioned earlier, noise pollution, which is detrimental to everybody that has to live around it. The people who make the money live nowhere near. They're several states away. The entire community of Lake Tahoe, which has, I think, between 90 and 100,000 people in it, on the border between Nevada and California, their whole community has to find a new source of power because their existing power supplier told them that they have a year to find somebody else because they're diverting all of the power source that they have to massive data centers. In Box Elder, Utah, there's a giant project that's being introduced over the objections of the locals in what's essentially a desert next to the diminishing Great Salt Lake, in a desert, just because, again, the land is cheap and the power is cheap. As was mentioned earlier, we have a new water treatment plant. We have cheap land. We have cheap electricity. That's a benefit to the people of this county, but it also makes us a target. Finally, I'd like to address, last time, there was the notion introduced that Senate Bill 135, the South Dakota Data Center Citizens Bill of Rights, prevented TIFs, tax incentive, I forget, basically tax incentive programs for industries, that this Senate bill, which was passed in March, prevented these TIFs from being put in place. That unfortunately is not correct. The version of the bill which passed and which was signed by the governor in March has that language stricken from it. So there's nothing to prevent a TIF from being introduced to entice these large corporations to build these large detrimental data centers and give them a break on the taxes, which would totally undermine the purported benefit to the community of that tax revenue. So I would strongly urge that if we're going to move forward, if we're going to set rules for these data centers, that we not entertain any notion of a TIF, because that would just be shooting ourselves in the foot. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Hello, I am Walker Hunoff. I am a young father and a concerned citizen with this. I would say very disappointed when I came here looking around. There are not a lot of younger people here. And I have been talking with a lot of people around my age. No one really knows about this. And it really prevents a lot of active conversation because we're not getting their opinions either because they're ill-informed. But for the people I have talked with who are well-informed, and as well, I've done a lot of research. I'm a student at DSU. For the longest time, I was going into both cybersecurity and AI teaching. Decided that's just not it. But through that, I have over 40 hours of very potent information about how this is just not going to benefit Yankton. It's putting a Band-Aid on a gashing wound. If we're short on a budget and we're going to depend on a data center to fix that, it is going to be way worse in 5-10 years time. Like it was brought up earlier, if an AI data center gets built in Yankton and the bubble does pop, because there's been over $10 billion that has been stricken from AI investment over the past year and a half, because people are seeing this is not good for the country we live in, the world we live in. This is just not just pollution, it's noise pollution. I encourage everyone here, when you get home, just YouTube what it sounds like being right next to a data center. That would drive out our wildlife. That would affect so much going around Yankton. Yankton has never been dependent on these corporations. We've had these beautiful, beautiful gifts of nature given to us. That is what we all love about this town. There's such a beautiful history in it. There's such beautiful architecture. There's life, and a data center will do nothing but hinder progress and life. I love progress. I I've always tried to see, even hearing about the data center potentially in Yankton, I've always wanted to give it a second chance. But now looking back into everything I know, doing as much research and talking with people as I know, I'm a new bartender. I know a lot of people's not sober thoughts on this. Nobody wants this. Nobody does. Nobody does. And on top of that, it's just not going to fix our budget issue. There are people in this town like Matt Evans, he bought the mall. He is trying to, at a citizen level, try to help fix the town. So selling us out to a corporation is not the answer.
My name is Todd Christensen. I live in Turner County, 2 miles from the Yankton County border. But I know I was in Parker and had all these moratorium meetings, and we did, or the commission did pass one. There's so much discussion in all these meetings, what you're gonna have in the moratorium. And Parker, I don't know, unless they didn't do it right, they said they voted unanimously or whatever to pass it. And there's too much discussion on what we're gonna have in it. You need to strongly, in my opinion, pass a moratorium for a year, and then you got time to literally look into it, because not a lot of people know something. And I think when you look at, if you look at Turner County, I think with the rendering issue they got up by Freeman, I think they wish they would have spent more time. And that's why I hate to see you guys get in the same predicament, because there's lawsuit. Now the city of Freeman was writing, they're going to probably sue, I suppose, Turner County. Well, that what happens on this kind of stuff when you don't thoroughly check into it. And that's what happens by rushing through things. You definitely want to take your time and get the moratorium passed, and then figure out what the people are gonna do. Like, we got to end up getting a task force in Turner County after the fact, and I was on there, and it'll be up in August, and we're on the solar side of it. What's been passed so far, what we are going to suggest. I ain't 100% happy with everything, but we kind of come with a compromise. So I just strongly suggest that you do pass the moratorium, and then after the fact, figure out what you're as a county level. And then one quick thing else, everybody talks about they want bring more economic development, with these projects, whether it's wind, solar, or data centers or whatever. Well, there's been some business in town that run into financial struggle or left. I never seen, and maybe some weren't the best businesses, but maybe you should have kept some of them. For instance, the meat packing plant. Some probably disagree with it, but a lot of farmers use that in Yankton County and the following counties. I never seen anybody go there and try to see what can we do to keep it in Yankton County to get more money, because I think that had to bring a lot of money into the county. I'm not a tax expert. I'm not an expert in a lot of things, but I just strongly suggest that you pass a moratorium, and then after you get it passed, if it passes, then decide what you're going to do. I just want you to have the same mess as Turner County does with the rendering plant, because it is a mess. Thank you very much.
John Kavaiser, Yankton address, but I live out by Utica. And I would strongly urge that you pass the moratorium just to take some time to do some research. And first and foremost, get a better idea of what the people want. I think the gentleman that spoke to people before has a really good feeling for the population. From the people I've talked to, I don't think many people in Yankton County want the data center, but maybe we're wrong. Find out what people want. Second of all, really look into and study the data centers. Apparently, we already have one on West City Limits Road that I don't think many people knew existed. And if you can have a small one that's not obtrusive and doesn't interfere and doesn't have the big noise pollution, fine. Set the limits, find out what the parameters are, where they're not obtrusive and aren't going to bother people and aren't going to bother the neighboring communities and the wildlife and all that. A big one, I think almost everyone in this room would agree, we don't want. So I think you need to have the time to really look into and explore it and find out what size, what gigawatts, what water usage, if they need the water use, because I don't know if the ones in West City Limits Road use water. I don't know. Does everyone in this room know the answers to those questions? And let's find out, can we have a small one that does? And do they bring employment in, or is the employment only 30 guys for 90 days to build a structure? Or do they have a permanent staff that's more than 1 or 2 to turn the light switches on? I think a moratorium to answer a whole lot of questions that we're not getting answers to, because right now, when I talk to people about this, what I'm hearing is a whole lot of fear because there's a whole lot of unanswered questions. And YouTube can be a great resource, but it can also stoke and create a lot of fear. And the internet can be a great resource, same thing. It creates a lot of fear. And I think we're hearing and seeing a lot of these information coming in from the bigger data centers. I don't know if that's what people are proposing building here. I do know there have been buyers in and around me that are looking at bigger parcels of land, and the buyers themselves have not identified themselves. That also is stoking some fear. If there's buyers looking at land for data centers, let's get them to identify themselves, identify the project. That's something that should be done during the moratorium period. I think we need a whole lot more details before we move forward. That's my input.
Thank you.
Stop. Hi, I'm a new resident of Yankton here. My name's Taylor. You'd think being a school teacher, I'd be more comfortable doing this. I didn't come here planning to speak, but like someone else addressed, there's not enough young people here. And as a government teacher, I think I'd be failing my students not saying and speaking my mind. Like we talked about, we don't know everything that a data center is going to do yet. Moratorium would be good because then we get to see all the effects and see the research from, towns that do have them. You see everything on social media, anything ranging from them being good all the way to, oh, it's the end of the world. We don't know what's true and what's not. So a moratorium will give us time to do that. Like you see, I just saw something new the other day that I reposted that people think they're affecting bees now. So that affects pollination and that can affect farmers. I've also seen stuff, like I said, I don't know what the science is behind this yet. There's also possibility of affecting cattle. There is a farmer in Texas that was saying that the noise pollution, ever since it's gotten put in, that he's had stillborn calves. But that just goes to show, how much there is. We don't know what's true and what's not. So again, I think a moratorium would be good because then we get to see and we'll actually have good, proper research and not just conspiracy theories. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Taylor, can you state your last name?
Bear, sorry.
My name is Tom Brinkman. I've been here in Yankton for a long time. I moved here to Yankton and stuff here, and I love the area. Now, I wasn't going to say much about this data center, but the more I check into it, what they are requesting, what a data center takes anywhere between 10 acres and 1,000 acres of land. Now, someone's going to make a lot of money when they sell that land to some investor. Somebody's going to make a lot of money when they construct it. The electrician, the contractors, they're all going to make a lot of money. And for a couple of years, that's going to bring money into the Yankton area. But after they leave, we are stuck with what's left over. We have stuck with having taken millions of gallons of water a day, daily. They have to recycle through their system. If that system breaks down, that's going to affect everyone. People have been talking about the air, the water. You all heard that story about down in Cuba about the sonic waves affecting service people and the sonic people. And why would that not affect us? If you have airwaves that can affect people and stuff here, why do we want to put our residents at risk? This moratorium is necessary. And at the very least, this whole data center issue needs to be put forth as a vote to the people of the county to say yes or no, we don't ever want one, or if we do. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christy Schultz. I was born and raised here. My children are here. My grandchildren are here. We've been a part of the community for generations. One topic I want to address, I am definitely want at least a year to put a moratorium on. The Sioux City residents have already approved a year moratorium. We've had numerous people explain why. There's one thing I just want to elaborate on a little bit more, and that is climate change. We recently had a road trip down to New Mexico, and I was absolutely appalled at the number of major rivers on that trip down that are just gone and have been gone for decades. The water use is unbelievable. And the people that are putting these data centers in are clustering them around the Ogallala Aquifer, which is the main water source for agricultural development and towns and communities in the Midwest. And the reason they're doing that is because that's where the water is. We have water too, and we don't have nearly as much water as we once had. When I was growing up, Beaver Creek ran constantly. It's gone now. It used to run by the road that we lived on, and now it's gone. The river levels have dropped. When we had the rainy cyclone where it rained all the time and the river was way up, that's the way it used to be, people. It used to be that high all the time. They're coming here, as they mentioned, for the free, not free land, but cheap land, cheap electricity, and we don't have the capacity to handle it. Back to the subject. We need to regulate utility rate hikes to avoid shifting costs to consumers. And yes, you can do that. They've done it in other states. That would protect us from rate hikes, from them getting a huge break on electricity because of the volume that they buy. We need to align data center demands with climate change goals, insist on renewable energy integration, and require transparency in energy usage reporting. Renewable energy, additionally, have a clause in there to ensure that data centers contribute to the new renewable capacity rather than relying on existing resources. Hold data centers accountable for environmental impacts. We've already discussed water use, air pollution, heat pollution, noise pollution, and the energy from fossil fuels that will be required to generate the electricity that they need. So
Time's up.
please, let's hold them to task.
Okay, that's it. Time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there time for anyone else or?
So we've got like 4.5 minutes.
Okay.
She can talk fast.
I wasn't prepared to talk, but I'm a young adult. I'd like
name.
So hello, my name is Ava Har and I'm an 18-year-old and just graduated from Yankton High School. I have lived in Yankton my whole life, and this August I will be attending USD, where I will major to become a teacher. As a young adult in the Yankton community I call home and plan to live in for years to come, this town has grown tremendously. With the Yankton Trailhead Center School, parks, the mall, and resources for our town. We are very fortunate to have such a beautiful town with a great community of people. Building this AI center will not only affect us now, it will affect future generations, jobs, the economy, ecosystems, and I don't know about you, but I want myself and my future children to grow up in the same community as I did, with the amazing opportunities that we have. This center will not only affect the Yankton County, it will also affect Clay County, the reservation, Bonhomme, Hutchinson, and more. We need to keep and hold on to the things we are lucky to have. This AI center is not something that will benefit our community. Thank you.
That was fairly short and sweet, so we have time for one more. Seeing none at this point in time, then do we have anyone in the audience that wants to speak against a moratorium?
Nancy Winandy. I just wanted to express that I'm in agreement with a lot of the people here that a hyperscale data center is not appropriate for Yankton County. I think that is where some of the confusion is coming into play. The gentleman who was here at a public meeting and spoke about the project that's taking a look at Yankton. They haven't even decided if there's a project, they're just looking at Yankton, was only interested in developing in areas where there's existing power at the substations that's not being used. So it is not a hyperscale. I believe he mentioned it was something less than 30 megawatts. It might have even been as low as 25 or between 10 and 15 or 10 to 25. I don't remember the exact numbers that he quoted, but it is something less than 30 megawatts. So a lot of the fears that people have about hyperscales are not at all what is being considered for Yankton. So I just want to make that clear. Evan and Ava, I want to commend you as young people for getting engaged. And if you have ideas on how we can continue to educate and get the younger population involved, I would be very interested in hearing your ideas, because education is the key to all of this. We do not need to make decisions out of fear. We need to continue to talk about the facts and what is really happening. I get excited when there are projects looking at Yankton that generate high amounts of property tax and do not need a lot of employees. Anyone who looks at our unemployment rate, incredibly low. So when we're looking at economic development projects, we want a low number of employees with a high opportunity for revenue. That is something that could be very good for Yankton. So having a low number of employees is not necessarily a negative. I just want to say that there's a lot of opportunity here, and we need to continue to work on being transparent, talking about the facts, and making decisions not based on fear.
Anyone else wish to speak against the moratorium? And
Again,
I wouldn't say that.
or in
definitely-
favor?
I guess that wasn't even really against the moratorium, what Nancy spoke about. And if there's no one else, I just want to speak a little bit about, and I agree with Nancy to the fact that I don't think there's anyone up here online in this room that wants or would appreciate a hyperscale or a larger than 30 megawatt data center in Yankton County. I don't think, if a moratorium is passed tonight, I agree that the ordinance should be written to limit the size, whether it be 30, whether it be 15 or 20, whatever, but that's something that we need to study. I did get a response from our state's attorney that says that if we do the moratorium this evening, it can be shut off once a ordinance is passed by the county commission. So that's one thing. If it takes 3 months for the planning and zoning board to come up with an ordinance and it's approved by the county commission, the moratorium could be ended at that time. Did we have any other questions about that I asked you?
Is your microphone on?
The petition that is going around, I guess some of the information has been passed around that once that petition is turned into the Secretary of State or the auditor, that it's an injunction. According to what our state's attorney has told me, that's not true, that it has to be approved on the November ballot. Would have to be approved then in order to be brought into fruition. So whether we pass a moratorium this evening or not, I guess I'm just here to say that I'm not in favor of a huge scale data center. There are laws by the state of South Dakota, codified laws that state that the ratepayers on electricity cannot be affected by the need for electricity to provided to a data center. That has to be approved by the PUC. If a data center larger than, Gary, correct me if I'm wrong, 10 megawatts has to be approved by the Public Utilities Commission anyway? There's a number that is not 500 megawatts, but 100 megawatts, whatever the magic number is, has to be approved by the Public Utilities Commission, who's elected officials to the state of South Dakota. So we're not here trying to do a boondoggle, like somebody mentioned earlier, about passing and getting a huge scale data center in Yankton County. That would have to come before the Public Utilities Commission, and by codified law, the Public Utilities Commission cannot make a decision unless it's approved by the county. So whether the moratorium is passed tonight or not, we're going to work on an ordinance. If we need to put a hold on them, or a moratorium in place to put a hold on till we get an ordinance done, our planning and zoning board will work efficiently and as rapidly as they can to put an ordinance in place. There are ordinances out by other counties that we can, I'm not saying we have to adopt them, but I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel. I think we can look at those ordinances and pick and choose some things that we may need to update or whatever. 10 megawatts has to be approved by the PUC or larger. So somebody coming in here that wants to build a 15 megawatt data center, first of all, they have to be approved by the county to do so. And then they also have to be approved by the Public Utilities Commission of the state of South Dakota.
John,
Yes.
I have a question. So how does that approval process work then for a say someone wants to build a 30 megawatt facility? How does that approval process work for our county commission right now?
It has to be approved by the Public Utilities.
No, how is it? Because they say, you're saying the Public Utilities Commission requires the county to approve it.
Right
What's that
now,
approval process in our county today?
right now, we have no ordinance. So I'm not saying that.
Gary, right now, it's just a permit, right? They apply and you can sign the permit and that's the approval process. There is no public human for a service establishment, correct? Yes. So right now, the county really isn't involved and the people aren't really involved. And so I think that's the big reason we'd like to see the moratorium so that we can do this with calm, collected heads and put together the right ordinance and then open it up.
I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying that there are things in effect, probably, and I don't believe that a service establishment constitutes a data center. I've been told by people that say that it does not. So,
that unfortunately, that is what has already been stated by our deputy state's attorney, I believe. That a service establishment and a data center qualifies as a service establishment. So I think that's a kind of the red flag, and saying that, right now we are completely unlimited. We should close it down so that we can do this correctly.
I'm open to a motion right now.
Yeah, I move that we pass the moratorium on data centers for 12 months.
However, the 12 months can be, once
Yes,
an ordinance is
obviously,
done.
that's fully the intention.
Okay.
Once we have an ordinance, then there's no reason for a moratorium.
Okay. I have a motion by Ryan to pass a moratorium to put a hold on any permits issued on data centers in Yankton County at present time or within the time frame that the ordinance is implemented.
Ryan, are you incorporating what's been published?
Yes, which has been published, as published. I should say, yes, as published in the as published in the packet.
Okay, so I have a motion by Ryan. Can I get a second? Without a second, motion fails.
I would,
Any other,
I would make a motion that we pass a moratorium for 6 months, which gives time for the planning and zoning people to put together an ordinance that keeps out huge mega data centers, because I don't think anybody wants a huge mega data center. And hopefully it'll be done within 6 months. If not, I would suggest that there could be a second 6-month period if they don't get it done, because that, I think then everybody could be happy.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Wanda. I have a
Second
second
that.
by
As
Ryan.
long as we have that on the agenda already for the next 6 months, so that
Okay.
it's ready to go on the day.
If the ordinance
second.
is in place before 6 months, though, then the moratorium
Naturally,
can,
naturally, yeah.
obviously.
The only reason for the moratorium is the lack of ordinance.
Terms is in here, just amend it. Can you state that?
Same terms as set forth in the proposed resolution, with the exception of that it be for a 6-month moratorium instead of the 12-month moratorium.
Mr. Chair.
And
this
it
is Dan.
appears to be starting on June 16, 2026.
Okay, so I have a motion by Wanda, a second by Ryan. Any further discussion by the commission?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is Dan, and I agree that I think the thought process is it could be extended another 6 months if needed to a full year. I'm in agreement with that as well. And then we're gonna direct the planning commission to immediately start work on ordinances. Is that the agreement of the board at this point? Because I think we need to start on it ASAP. It sounds like there's a lot of concern from the citizens, so I'm in agreement that.
Tyler, do we need a separate motion on the planning and zoning board?
I don't think
To
we
write the
approved
ordinance?
that last meeting, right? To have the planning and zoning already start that work. So that's already started,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, I just would like it in the motion that we're going to direct the planning commission to immediately start. My final concern is that the resolution states that this is an act of the Board of Adjustment, and my concern is it's not, it's the county commission, because we aren't in a Board of Adjustment. So we should probably change that, because Board of Adjustment, as we all know, has 3 jobs. That's approve conditional uses, variances, or hear appeals to zoning. So the Board of Adjustment doesn't have the authority to do a moratorium, and we probably just need to clean that up.
So just change the Board of Adjustment, that one reference to the Board
It
of
should be
Adjustment.
county commission. And the reason I
County
say
commission.
that is if we pass.
And there's
then-
2
and it
references
gets
to Board of
challenged,
Adjustment.
and they'll say that the Board of Adjustment actually didn't do it, and they'd be right. So that's more of just a cleanup language. But I'd agree with everything else. Heard the citizens' concerns. Yes, we need to move forward and get our zoning updated. Thank you.
Any further discussion by and you're good with making those changes with the Board of Adjustment to county commission
Yeah.
and as stated?
Does the
With no-
state's attorney agree with that we should modify?
You're good with that, Tyler?
Turn your,
With those amendments.
I guess I'll withdraw my prior motion and make a motion that the resolution as set forth in the packet be for that the county commission, and I would tell you that in the 3rd full paragraph, county is spelled wrong, just for your information. That it be for a 6-month period to allow the study for economic and environmental effects of data centers and Bitcoin mining facilities, and that it be for planning and zoning instead of Board of Adjustment.
Or County Commission.
County commission.
I'm sorry, County Commission instead of Board of Adjustment.
I'll second that.
I have a amended motion by Wanda, amended second by Ryan. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Dan again. And are we also directing the planning commission to immediately start work? Is that just something that we're going to do and doesn't need to be?
I think we did that at our last meeting that we appointed or said that
I don't
the
know if
planning.
I don't know if we did. I guess I
We
would
can do
like
that as a
that to
separate
be.
motion.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that as a
Okay.
separate
Is
motion.
everybody in agreement with that? Because we need to get work on it ASAP.
We'll do that in
I'm
another motion.
If that's part of it. So,
Dan, we'll do that in another motion right after we vote on this one.
thank you.
No further discussion. All in favor of the
Give a roll call.
roll call vote. Patty, please roll play.
Yes.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
John.
Yes. Motion carries. Now, Dan, would you like to make a motion that we task
Yeah.
the planning and zoning board to originate the planning and the ordinance for data centers?
Yeah, I'll also move with that and they can start for the citizens listening. They'll have public hearings. They want your input. And this is the people's ordinance of Yankton County. So yes, public comment and public meetings, and we can task them with that, developing an ordinance for data centers.
I have a motion by Dan.
Second.
Second by Ryan to task the planning and zoning board to originate the ordinance on data centers in general for Yankton County. Any further discussion?
Of course, then that would go through the entire process of 2 meetings, and discussion by groups and get everybody involved.
Yes, public would be invited to the meeting,
People-
planning and zoning board meeting, just like they are now, whether public is always invited to the planning and zoning board meeting. So, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, next. Yankton County budget, Amy Leone. You know, we get through the serious stuff and everybody leaves.
I have the ability to clear a room. I'll just give them a second. That's,
I can't imagine they don't want to stick around and listen to you.
I can. I gotta look around and see who I have here anyway from the center and the library and.
Of course, this way we make room for the people in the hallway.
Right, the people that have been standing.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, we still have some people trickling in here. Okay, if you're ready for me.
Is there anybody left at the city office?
Not this, well, the PD's there, PD and dispatch is there, so
Okay.
we're covered. Good evening, commissioners and public. I'm Amy Leone. I'm the city manager. It's the time of year that we come and talk about our shared services. And so you have in your packet some of the requests that we make of the county. And this year we are asking for a couple of contributions for shared services. So as you know, we split the cost for the center 50-50, not for programming. Chris and her.
Amy, can I interrupt you just for a second? Gary, would you shut the doors with the public visiting out in the hallway, which they're more than welcome to do. We just don't want sound interruption in the chamber. Sorry, go ahead.
Sure. Chris Thury and her team do a great job fundraising and all put on their programs and the Meals on Wheels, which is a very great service, but we're talking about building maintenance and all those things. I do want to let the county commission know that we've had a good year, but we do know we have some HVAC issues in the center, and we'll probably have to buy some new units we can do a repair, but we know next year we have one of the exchanges is cracked and we'll probably need to do a full replacement. So we only charge half of what is actually spent. So this is a budget number, the 44,572 proposed, but in the end, I guess we won't be sending it to Patty, but traditionally we send the final number to Patty and then we split that 50-50. In the past, we've asked for 15,000 for the Chan-Gurney Airport. We did not receive a contribution in 2026. We did not ask for a contribution in 2027. We are asking for 90% of the E911 funds. There are some small amount of things that Yankton County expends E911 funds for, but we're asking for the 90%. Of those funds. And just so the county commission is aware, we had a change in our staff. We have Julia Hussein, who was the supervisor for our dispatch center, recently retired. So Jen Palsma, who is here tonight, is now heading our dispatch center. So it is in very capable hands. Jen's been with us for a long time as well. We also request a contribution for the Yankton Community Library. We're requesting $24,000. Just so the public is aware, the contribution represents 2.5% of the library budget, and the county card holders represent about 16% of our total card holders. Our card holders are up, which is exciting, to currently 910 card holders. So that's exciting. That's county card holders. One more item that is in your packet that I mentioned, and I know we won't talk about this tonight, but I'll give you a skeleton draft and ask your direction on whom to talk to. E911 service in the state has asked or suggested that it's a good idea for PSAPs or dispatch centers to have agreements with the entities that they dispatch for. So you don't get a rogue city manager that decides one day we're not going to dispatch for you, or a sheriff gets elected and has a fight with a city manager and says we don't want you dispatching. Protects both sides, and gentlemen's agreements work great until
they don't.
They don't. So just a good idea to have a contract agreement with the entity. So we're looking to do that. Most counties or cities have those agreements in place. Ours we drafted is modeled after, I believe, Hughes County. So I have that draft, and I don't know if it's Sheriff Chrissy you would like us to talk with or who, but of course we'd have to work through that and then present it to you at a later time. But we think it's just probably a good practice to have. So I think you have copies of the request, and I'll leave some copies of this with you. Happy to answer questions. We also have the directors of the departments here and some staff as well as some folks from the center if you have questions, technical questions or operational questions about their services.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is Dan Clemish. I do have a question. Welcome, City Manager Leon. Are you looking at like doing a potential charge to the entities that dispatch, or are you just talking about an agreement of itself to dispatch?
I'm certainly willing to negotiate that, Commissioner Clemish. One of the things that has been brought to our attention is that it isn't appropriate for us to use E911 funds to perform any work that is not E911 related. So really what I would need to do is have some discussion with Jen and her staff, as well as with the sheriff, to identify, are there things that our dispatch center is doing that is not related to E911? If that's the case, we shouldn't be using that E911 tax money for anything other than dispatching emergency services. So, you know, for example, if I know we're not doing this, but if they were typing up letters for the sheriff or something like that, we shouldn't be using E911 dollars for that, and we should be charging for those services. So we would have to discuss that, and I don't know enough about the technicalities of that of the operations to know that. So we would work through that, but more than more than any monetary cost, I'm more interested in making sure both parties are protected. So as people in all our seats change, we know that we're in an agreement and a partnership for the long term.
Yeah, and I can agree with that. I just would be concerned if we would be charged you know, if the sheriff's office is going to get a charge, or the ambulance, or the emergency management, or, you know, if that was going to be a charge. You don't foresee that now? Is that an accurate statement?
They're pretty picky. The state is pretty picky on
Yeah.
what you can spend that E911 money for.
Yeah, so again, if we're doing, you know, if we're providing some kind of a service that's outside of E911 services, which I don't believe we are, we might talk about some nominal fee, but it's not supposed to be some type of money-making venture. You know, we can even talk about a small fee, you know, or no fee, but I would like to have some kind of agreement in place so that we're both understanding who has what role and how those roles can change if there's something that would ever cause us to maybe become more of a regional center, or somebody wants to, I hope not back out of an agreement, but we have that opportunity, but not, you know, it not necessarily requires a fee, but could, I suppose.
So at this time, you have a kind of a template from Hughes County, is that correct?
I believe it was drafted as yeah, we took out the most of the language from what Hughes County and I think it was Hughes County, and so it's completely up to be discussed and talked about. Both city commission and county commission would have to approve it before it would go into effect, but I think it would be a good idea to have something between us at the start of the year. And if we, you know, that can be a sum of $1 if it's, you know, just something to say that we have the agreement in place and are moving forward that way.
I guess I would suggest that you share that agreement with Tyler, their state's attorney's office, and our sheriffs, Preston and Chrissy, and let them go through it and then present it to us at a later date, if that's.
Yeah, and I haven't worked on it with my city commission either. They know about it. But we haven't.
Sure.
I wanted to make sure we're presenting it to both of you before we start hammering out any language. So what I'd like to do is work on it with your staff before we bring it forward to either of our governing bodies to act on.
Absolutely. And I would suggest state's attorney's office and the sheriff's office.
Okay, I'll be in touch with them.
Mr. Chair, I had one more question, again, for City Manager Leon. I again appreciate the close partnership we have between the city and the county. And, you know, what is about a month ago, I attended a city meeting and asked the city to consider, you know, some support for the ambulance, and didn't put a dollar amount on that. And I guess I just wonder if that been discussed. Is that gonna come to an action of the board at some point to at least look at that option? Thank you.
That has not been discussed, and I'm not prepared to talk about that tonight, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Not seeing anybody raise their hand here. Thank you very much for the
Thank you.
presentation. Absolutely. I think we got a couple minutes left. Then you can sit down.
Hi, County Commissioners. Thank you for your continued support of the center. Your partnership with the city and county together, it's invaluable. It helps provide healthy, meaningful connections, social interaction to many residents of Yankton County. At the center, we strive to create those connections through activities, educational programs, wellness opportunities, and nutrition services. Many of these programs are available to the entire community, not just our members. In fact, just yesterday, we had a group of 8 people that were camping that heard about the center, stopped by, had lunch, spent the whole afternoon there playing billiards in our billiard room. The center's it serves as a welcoming gathering place for many in the community. We hear of the year 2030 a lot, it seems like, and that is the year that thousands and millions of Americans are going to turn 60, all those baby boomers. And while the center is open to anyone 18 and older, our primary focus remains serving older adults and helping them remain healthy, active, and engaged. Our nutrition program continues to be one of our most impactful services. During our last fiscal year, which just ended on June 30th, we served nearly 50,000 home-cooked, well-balanced meals, and more than 23,000 of those were delivered to homebound seniors through our Meals on Wheels program. This vital service provides much more than a nutritious meal. It offers a daily wellness check, a friendly visit, and a meaningful social connection for some of our the community's most vulnerable and valuable residents. So again, thank you for your past support and your investment in the center. And it's my sincere hope that you will continue to prioritize funding for the seniors of Yankton County, ensuring they have access to the services, nutrition, and connections that help them live happier, healthier, more independent lives. Thank you.
Thank you. I got one question.
Yeah.
Those 8 people, visitors,
Yes.
does your billiards tables have are they coin operated?
No. Darn right. I guess we could put a bucket up there,
There you
free will
go.
donation,
There you
right?
go. No,
Any
that's
other
fine.
questions?
No, that's fine.
Thanks, John.
Okay. The city's all good? Risty benefits, Dan Johnson. Preston?
That's like an adjective.
Thank you. You couldn't get this on bigger fonts?
Thank you.
That's what I mean. They should be bigger so we can read them.
All right, thank you, County Commissioners, for letting me come in tonight for the second quarterly report for the sheriff and jail. I know you guys kind of saved me for the last part here, but just real quick, just to go over a few numbers. Obviously, you got the quarterly reports for the jail and the income. So currently, as a month of June, our grand total right now for U.S. Marshal Service holds is $432,645. And this is actually on the last page of the June report. I'm just going to go by the last number in the quarterly. I talked about those confinement fees. Usually when somebody's sitting out their time, they're supposed to pay $10 with every day that they serve. Those fees we are unsuccessful really for collecting, so $630, but I know that number should be much higher than that. Other agency holds, we're at $59,464. 24/7 in the scram, that's obviously money that is budgeted for, but it's reimbursed by the offenders. Transports currently, which we have, we have those 2 big, beautiful vans that we have. So we have been doing a lot more transport. So currently for revenue for that, we're at 44,209. Our transporters are going all over the place. They go to Winter, South Dakota. They've been down to Omaha. They've been to Minnesota. So those are ones that we do for the U.S. Marshals. See here. you know, we got fingerprints, work release, all that stuff, but those are just some numbers, for you to look at. So for total revenue, $687,902 for the end of that quarter. Now the sheet of paper that I did hand out to you guys, the front page there, this is for the jail, first quarter versus second quarter. Our average inmate population, for the first quarter is about 105 inmates a day. We're currently up to 110. So obviously with the summer picking up, a lot more people tend to like to be outside, drink a little more, have a little more fun, end up on probation. So I'm just trying to think of some other numbers here. Obviously the inmate food costs, the more inmates that we house, the cheaper the food. But if we're right around the 100 threshold, it's usually about the same. So this last quarter, I mean, for year to date for meals in the jail, it's $162,778 is what we've served. On the second page there, this is just more for patrol in the sheriff and civil and warrants division. So for the total amount of civil process and papers that we've served, it's 601. We've had 669 calls for service. We've had 150 warrants served. We've had 52 arrests, 643 traffic stops, and obviously the lake area brings a lot of that in. Citations, 729 tickets, 429 warnings. Our speeding citations are 197. We've had 11 DUIs, 25 drug offenses, which adds to Mr. Larson's caseload over there. We've had 8 domestics and 2 assaults for the quarter. So any questions for me? Side note, we did have to go down to Houston, Texas again to pick up another inmate. So that was on a probation hold, which I'm going to bring to state legislators at some point because of the interstate compact. I don't know why we're on the foot for a probation hold, so.
I'll see what I can do if I end up being there next year.
You've got to do something because it's going to cost a lot of money if you have to. What's that?
Do you want to open?
Someone wants in or back in.
Maybe they have a question.
Sheriff, this is Dan. Could you explain that a little more in detail to the viewers and stuff at home, exactly what that is and the cost and those types of things? Appreciate it.
Yeah, so currently, if you are on probation or parole, parole is where you've already served time in the state penitentiary and you've been released on supervision. Probation is before you go to prison. So a lot of times we have people that are on probation, and with the interstate compact across the country, we are responsible to go pick up people on a probation hold. They haven't even hit prison yet, but Yankton County's on the hook for transporting these people. So one individual that was down in Houston, Texas, I think he'd signed his extradition paperwork because he didn't want to be in that jail anymore. If you're downtown Houston, it's not a very nice jail. So, but yeah, that alone, I think cost us, we sent a deputy down there. We usually fly with armed officers on the planes because it's cheaper, but the flights are so expensive that we just sent a guy down there and he got back. So I think it was like probably $800 out of a $15,000 travel training budget. So just those long trips really cost us a lot of money, but that's the difference between probation and parole, unless Mr. Larson's got something. Nope.
The only question I have is you got the year-to-date meal cost. How many actual meals do you, or what's the average meal cost per meal?
There's different tiers, and the more inmates that we house, the cheaper the cost. But that's so we serve 3 meals a day. And when I took over, I had to cut the hot breakfasts and make them cold breakfasts because of inflation with COVID and all that stuff. So it actually was probably made it even to where we were at just by cutting the hot. but I almost had a riot in the jail because people wanted hot meals, but if you
They-
don't wake up to go eat, then it's not our problem, but
They
they
also
don't like it,
complain
then
about
come back.
hot meals.
what's that?
They also complain about the hot meals, that it's the same every day.
Yeah, that's jail.
And I tell them that they should go somewhere else.
Oh, yeah. Go back to
Commit the
Houston.
crime.
Hey, go back to Houston.
It's not a Holiday Inn.
Yeah, touche. Dan have something?
Do we need to approve his
I would take a
second?
motion to do
I'll move
that. So,
approval of the sheriff's report.
got a
Second.
motion by Ryan, second by Wanda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thanks.
Oh, I'm back up again.
Okay.
Got a part-
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So this second one here, this is for the approval of Nate Van Gerpen to be a part-time transporter for us. It kind of dates me a little bit, but I was his SRO when he was in high school, so. But this is just for part-time basis on calls, whenever he's available to do transport, so that's it.
Okay. Get a motion to approve
Move approval.
part-time transporter. Motion by Ryan,
Do we need?
Oh,
Motion to approve salary of the transporter.
I move approval of Nathan Van Gerpen.
Yeah, Van
All right.
Gerpen, yep.
At the pay rate of $20.53 per hour.
okay, I have a motion by Ryan to approve that. Can I get a second?
Second.
Got a second by Wanda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Preston.
You bet.
Okay, Dustin Iams, request for a noise ordinance.
Good evening. I'm Dustin Imes. I own 2 properties in Yankton, South Dakota. I am a taxpayer. I've lived here for 30 years. Since the plant closed down here in Yankton, we have a lot of non-speaking people living in small communities that like to leave their music up very loud at night. It exceeds past 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I have children that sleep, wife that's got to go to work. And when you do call in these incidents, there's no law for county for a noise ordinance. The cops come out there, they try their best to do what they can do, but there's nothing you guys can do to do that, to fix it. I'd like to put something in place to where us people that live in the county don't have to listen to this music for hours on end, because it's a nuisance to us and it's annoying. That's all I got.
And
A question for you, like where are we talking about in just, is there a particular area in the county that you're concerned
Well,
about?
I have a property out by the lake and I don't hear any noise there. I don't even hear a turkey run across my yard. But this particular establishment is out by the 2 drug dispensaries that we have in town on, what is it, 50? On 50 there, there's a community where a bunch of Hispanics live. It's probably 50 people there every weekend at least, if not more, that just do not care about the people that live next to them or anyone around.
And would it be fair that law enforcement has told you that they can't enforce anything because there's no noise ordinance out in the county?
That's correct, Wanda. I'd like something to change. You know, progress is better than no progress. Like I said, I've been here for 30 years. I've never had to deal with this until now. The plant closed and all these people that I don't even know if they're citizens of our community that pack into these trailers out there and are just very disruptive.
I would probably want to ask our sheriff and our state's attorney.
If there's anything
an
Yeah.
idea or something that we can do about this. How can we do something that's not maybe overhanded?
Thank you.
Just a few things. I used to work for the city of Yankton. There was an ordinance for loud noise in the city of Yankton. But it all comes back to like the air brakes on the semis, those are ordinances that you guys would have to pass specifically in the county. And then, like the fireworks ordinance, or, like burn bans, stuff like that. So those are things that you'd have to, now there's a fireworks statute, so. But other than that, the city has their own sound ordinance, but you're gonna have to, figure a way, what's the decibels, we're gonna talk data centers all day. That's gonna be brought up too, so.
I think that may be something that, we could visit with planning and zoning board also to see if there's a, bring up an ordinance for noise. I think, haven't we talked about down at the lake area for the bands and stuff playing? Is there any noise ordinance down there or?
I
I
the
think,
only property with a noise ordinance in the county.
Okay, well,
I think that there was, there was a CUP, that was one of the conditions, wasn't it? That music stop at 11 o'clock at night or something?
Yeah, that was my place.
Yeah, but I mean,
The only problem with the CUPs is that they're not enforceable for us.
And you have to do it one at a time, and it's really, it's not enforceable. So that's the other thing is what would a good law look like that's enforceable, that's useful? We don't want to just make a law that's there for show. We want to have something useful that's not overtaxing to our law enforcement or to the people around us too. But we do want to try to address a problem if there is one.
Well, I think there's just a lot of stuff in statute that we should probably look at, and Tyler Larson and I can dig through some of that stuff. I know Fire Chief Linky and I had talked about fireworks permits, when people want to have displays for fireworks outside of the state statute. The sheriff used to sign off on it, the fire chief used to sign off on it, and that was what the county was good with, the city was good with it. But under state statute deep in the books, I'm not signing off on any fireworks display, because if there's a burn ban or something, I ain't getting on the hook for that. So there's a lot of state statutes that we can dig into, or you can copy from other places. It's not uncommon for taking the decimal reader, sitting outside of a home. It's like a, dog running around town or something, where the officers probably got to observe that the dog's running off of a leash. We don't have leash laws in the county, but the city has their own city ordinance. So, but if you start to look at a lot of these different statutes, I would really encourage speeding citations. I've read you how many speeding citations we've written. A lot of that goes into the states. That would also go back into the county as well. I don't know if we'd get overtime grants for those if it's not a state citation, but I'm just saying if you start to dig into some ordinances for the county, that you should probably look at a big plethora of them versus not,
So would this be something we could task our planning and zoning board with, along with the state's attorney's office and the sheriff's office, to come up with some kind of a noise ordinance in the county? I know it's something that would be kind of, how far out of the city limits do you go with a certain decibel or whatever? I mean,
Mr. Chair, this is Dan. I think what I would recommend we do is, state's attorney and the sheriff, probably Gary Vetter, and I guess I could volunteer for it. I'm sure we're not the first county in the nation to deal with something like this. There's probably a pretty good ordinance out there somewhere already, and maybe get some ideas, come back to the board. And once we get a better idea of the direction we want, then we can pass that, move it through the channels of the planning commission and all of that stuff. Or if it's an ordinance, like one of those ordinances, I don't think it would go through the planning commission. One of those, if it's not zoning and planning.
you could probably check with NACO to find out if there's any counties throughout the
Yeah.
United States that has a.
I'm sure
an
there's
ordinance.
a lot. Yeah. So Gary, would you be okay to see what you can find and I'll work with you to bring something forward?
You're never gonna retire.
Yep.
Okay, we'll look into it and see what we come up with.
Yeah, and just to make a point though, if it's in the county, you got Cottonwood out there, it's got live bands that go for long, so those are the other
So does Stringers.
stringers, yes, all sorts of stuff. So I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think maybe we could do something. There's a difference between a commercial and a lakeside commercial property where those are permitted uses and a residential property where they're not. And maybe we could do that way.
yeah.
Yep. Okay, good, good ideas, everyone. Thank you.
Gary, we got a plat to do tonight.
Good evening. Just one quick plat. This is a plat of lots 15, 16, and 17 Forest Lake subdivision in the northwest quarter and the northeast quarter of section 13, township 93 north, range 57 west of the 5th principal meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Ryan to approve the plat. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Should we do Risty quick before we do wind things down here? Mr. Johnson, are you ready?
Yes. Getting a little offended.
Thank you for the opportunity to give you a 6-month update on your medical benefits. That's pretty much what I'm here for. Skip the first couple of pages they got put in there. Let's go to the first graph. I just want to, your medical insurance for the county employees with the Vera. Pretty much page 3 in there. We're going to look at 2025, which you had for high cost claims and pharmacy. Quickly, you can go over that and you can see what's listed there for claims. The 4th page, that is last year as well. That lists your RX, your top RXs, Mongeros and everything of that nature, what they totally paid, what was the plan paid amount, plan paid per member per month. Gives you a little bit of information for you guys, for the employees, what your employees have.
Your pages aren't numbered.
The 5th page is your claim summary. That's what I really want to talk about. The top part of that is 2025, your medical loss ratio. 2025 ended up being 63.36%. 2026, currently you're sitting at 154%.
Say that again.
Right now for this year so far, you're sitting at 154% on the claimed loss ratio. Go to the next page. Thank you. About page 5 in.
Your pages aren't numbered, so it's hard to find page 5.
It's
5th page. So, just wanted to give you a little bit of information where you're sitting for the year. Your renewal will be coming up. We'll get that by the 1st of October for the year 1/1.
So back up to that claims ratio. At 154, is there an individual claim that is like, I don't expect any names or anything like
No,
that.
that with HIP, I can't. Go to the next page. You can see a couple of big high claims there. You got one, that first one right there, 130. Come down That's so far this year, 274,000. Just want you guys to be aware of where you're sitting at. And then you have some more pharmacy. Last year, you really, in 2025, you had 2 months where your pharmacy, your paid claims, you had 1 month of 25,000, one at 33, just in meds alone. That's really high for your group, for a group of that size. So if you look at last year, just in paid claims for meds, for drugs, 138, you're at 47.6. You're at 32%. And we're right on track to go to that. So a summary, your med loss ratio. It may, when I was down and gave Patty a couple months ago, the first 3 months, we're talking with her, you're 163, in June, you're 154. Your pharmacy claims paid, 2025 was 126. Right now, you're at 55.3. High claims for 2025 was 304, and 2026 were 245. So you have a large claimant activity, puts a little bit of pressure on the system. Premiums versus claims year to date, January to June. Paid in premiums, 416,000, claims 414. That's a 99% loss ratio. On the first 2 pages now. Or nearly match the revenue during the first 6 months coming in for 2026. Leaves little margin. Okay. Premiums. May and June, 141,000, claimed 124, just in 2 months.
What page are you actually on now?
Now it's a long page.
This one?
Second. That's the last page. Second page in. John,
Oh, you're jumping around.
it didn't get put together right. I apologize. But the historical, you have January to June last year, 75. January to June this year, 99% loss ratio. So your 2000 claims activity has been accelerated, producing that year-to-date loss ratio of 99. The perfect loss ratio is 80% or below, where you want to be. What's driving you guys right now is your drugs, your medicine. Sorry, just have to be blunt. It is the medicine. The correct terminology, but that is what's taking you guys up right now.
So all the big savings in drugs, excuse me, all the big savings in drugs that you hear about from the president, how does that affect us?
No comment.
No comment.
No, I'm not going there. But the good thing, very last page, is that MERP we're doing. That's not affected by your loss ratio. So if you have a group of 20 employees and you have 2 employees that have big claims, that's going to take your loss ratio up. You get your out-of-pocket max. But with the MERP that we're doing right now, savings so far this year, we're $95,664. The loss ratio does not affect the MERP. That's the best part. So if I was, last year you took a 7.44%, we had an 8% cap. I'm going to guesstimate 10.5% this year, and I will know that first week of October. But this is what we do. We analyze the first 5-6 months and come back and go to our clients, and so they understand where they're sitting. So if they do get a double-digit increase, they know it's coming. It's all here. Questions?
So we're estimating or looking at a possibility of a 10.5% rate increase for next year.
Correct.
Is Avera willing to lock in a 2-year program just like they did previously?
I've asked that question, have not received that answer.
Well,
I
you
think
can
they
go
have to
back
take
and
it up
tell
the
them.
flagpole, and I will take it back to them to tell me to get me an answer. And don't beat around, get me an answer, yes or no.
And we would prefer a yes answer.
Well, I'd be with you.
Okay.
I think most of the department heads did put a 10% in for insurance.
10 or 11, I think is what we talked about. So,
But I don't know if you guys have ever been given any of this stuff in previous years. This is what we do. Now, last year was the first year, it was hard to do that. We didn't really have any data to go with it. Now we're in the second year. And so we like to come to our customers 6 months in and do this to show them exactly where they're sitting, what their utilization, where their loss ratio is. And like I said, I was down here in I think March, early April and showed Patty. So a little bit what was going on the first 3 months. But here you have a good 5 months in. I would have had 6, but Avera switched their program over to Epic, which we talked about. That's messed up their reporting a little bit. So that's where they're going to get me 5. They promised me 6, but didn't happen. I got 5. So.
So I apologize for asking this. I should know. The people that are in jail that I see in the doctor's office, do those bills go through you?
No.
No.
These are just the employees of Yankton County. You guys are paying that.
Got a special insurance for that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, these are just the 80+ employees that are enrolled in the plan. So, questions? So I will probably be back first meeting, hopefully in October, to give you the good news or bad news.
I think I'd like to know if they would guarantee the 2-year program, same procedures as we did this time for 2 years, and lock in a percentage of increase like they did, and go down the road from there. Otherwise, we're gonna have to, if it's only a 1-year program, we're gonna have to shop. And you can let.
Understand.
I think it was Amy, wasn't that her name from Avera?
Julia,
Julie, that's right.
but she has left.
Okay,
Now we have Jason.
okay,
Julia left mid-June.
okay.
Went across town.
Do you,
Put the heat on them to say, we're definitely gonna shop if we don't get a 2-year guarantee.
as far as plan availability, can you have single and then single, married? Do you have employee plus one?
Yeah,
Employee
that's
plus children?
That's a 4-tier plan. Yeah. You can have 2-tier, 4-tier, or age rated.
Question, so I have employees who talk to me about the insurance for health insurance. Right now, the county offers the employee and then a family plan. And if we want to add just one individual, it's $1,000. Is there a way we can do an employee plus one for a lesser cost and not have to spend that $1,000? Because otherwise we got to shop separately. And so that's concerns I've had from my employees. Want to see if that's possible.
We can go to the 4-tier. That's what you and Ted and Commissioner wanted. Yeah, that can happen. So.
What does that mean?
I agree with Mr. Larson on this. I used to have the family plan, which I think now it's $1,200 for yourself plus one. The good news is you can have 15 kids.
A family plan is yourself plus one?
Well, I mean, if you were to just do a plus one, but if you have 15 kids, the price is still the same.
But per unit, it goes down.
Yeah. But what I want to say is that I have a fitness center that I have installed in the basement at the safety center. is there some kind of a wellness program that the county can look at as a whole, including the government center, the safety center?
I think,
Would
I
that
think
drive some?
I thought we had the plan, the fitness plan.
Yeah, we have Great Life, but if there was something that, if the employees actually went in and did 3 hours of fitness a week and we could provide proof that they were doing that, would that help drive some prices down?
There's some other businesses that offer that, kind of a wellness program within the company. So if an employee goes to the wellness center, goes to the center and works out X number of hours a month, he or she gets X. You know, they get Y. The more hours they put in, fitter they are. If that's all up to the the business, the owners. If you guys would do that, that would be up to you guys. It's a great concept. Employees love it.
Does that affect our rates at all though? Could it affect?
I think what they're saying is, will it make it cheaper for the employee
And
if they
that's
exercise?
I can go back and that's why Vera has Great Life. So that's what their whole thing is there with Great Life.
They're not going, or, I mean,
Yeah, you open up a can of worms. So, no, I agree with you 100%. Healthier we are, the premiums will, stay stagnant. But again, are the employees using that benefit?
They already have the opportunity to use Great Life at no extra cost for us or the employee.
Correct.
So,
That's included.
but now you're talking about a tier 4 for an employee plus one.
Well, there's single employee plus spouse, employee plus child or children, and then family. That's your 4 tiers.
So wouldn't that answer your question?
Yeah. So I mean, we can go to that January 1. We can't change it mid-year.
Well,
I think it'd be nicer to get those numbers to the commission so they can approve those types of plans. Instead of the status quo, family or one, let's give us option.
We'll bring that option. So that was never asked for before. So, but when you have kids, congratulations, by the way. So anything else for me? Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me go later.
Thank you.
Okay, June 21, 26 minutes.
I'd move to approve the June 2026 minutes.
Second.
Motion by Wanda, second by Ryan to approve the June 21, 2026 minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
I'd move to approve the June 30, 2026 minutes.
Motion by Wanda,
Second.
second by Ryan to approve the June 30, 2026 minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Claims.
I'd move to approve the claims.
Second.
Motion by Wanda, second by Ryan to approve claims. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. You got a surplus of a 2005 Chevy pickup?
yes, it's the, maintenance.
Make a motion to surplus the pickup.
Second.
A motion by Dan, second by Ryan to approve the surplus of the 2005 Chevy pickup. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. June 2026 audit. Okay, postpone all of that line.
Yes.
Okay, postpone. Public comment. Now is the time for our final public comment. Anybody want to step up to the microphone and speak? Seeing no one jump up and want to get to the microphone. Public comment is closed. Commissioner updates. Anything going on? Dan, I'll bet you got something for us.
Yeah, next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I have just one small update is the Secure South Dakota grant did come through for our firewalls. So nearly almost everything is covered by that. And so
19,000, wasn't it?
yeah. There's about 3,000, most of that's in work and combining the some of the network work that we're doing between the state's attorney's office and the sheriff's office is in there. That's not covered, but that should pay for itself within a year, just in the savings on our internet pipes. So.
Okay. Any other commissioner updates?
Yeah,
Don?
well, that's not an update, but it's a question when it comes to, is there anything we can do to get that damn thing to work?
Which thing?
Right up there on the wall.
Oh, you mean the Elmo?
We don't,
It works.
why wasn't it on tonight?
Oh, that's the video. That's not.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's not that.
Well, that's a separate problem. Far as we know, our stream was going to the YouTube servers. For some reason, it wasn't showing up online from the YouTube servers, so it's kind of out of our power. What?
It's still.
I know, I was checking it all night. It's not showing up online. We are sending it to the server. For some reason, it's not connecting on the other side. We'll have to.
What do we need to do to correct that? A lot of people talk to me about trying to listen in or watch. And
I know,
nothing they can
I
do.
know. At this, the little bit I got to look at it, as far as I could tell, we were connected to the YouTube servers. Once it's out to the data center, something was wrong in the data center that it wasn't going out to the rest of the world. So we did everything right on our end. As far as I can see, we did everything right on our end. For some reason, the server didn't push it up. We did also have a local recording of it. We will get that pushed up online.
We had this problem for
Ever.
5 years or so.
It
doesn't show up.
It's distinctly unique that we're talking about a data center moratorium and our stream to the data center was disrupted.
I move that we go into executive session.
Second.
Got a motion by Wanda, second by Don to move into executive session. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Come on, people. Some of us have lives.
Yeah.
I move that, aren't you back on, Gary? Yes. I move that we go back into regular session from executive session.
Second.
Motion by Wanda, second by Ryan to move back into regular session. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
No actions were taken in executive session. However, on the next agenda, we're going to appoint 3 people to be on the negotiation committee. Union negotiation committee, sorry. My bad.
Okay, anything else for our next meeting agenda? If not, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Motion
Second.
by Ryan, second by Wanda to adjourn. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.